Hello there, World Tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm, of course, your host, Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about one of the oldest yet hardest maps for people to understand in World of Tanks Blitz. This is a map that's really given me a lot of motivation to make today's video, because I don't get why people don't understand which way to push. It's very, very simple. You just don't go town. That's it. That is the only way to win this game, is you don't go town. Literally all town does is it gives you worse advantages. You're on the lower ground. You don't have the advantage of spotting the enemy team because they're on the high ground. They've got bushes that you don't have in town. It's just a way worse scenario. Pretty much there's many ways to beat teams that go to town side, and there's very easy ways to explain that. Pretty much if their team's pushing their tanks to here, all you got to do is you push your heavy tank either right up to this ridge right here, you push your tank over to here or to that bush. And what ends up happening is their team just gets spotted through this alleyway, through here. They get spotted through this alleyway, through this alleyway. You just spot their entire team at this point. And what are they going to do? Because you're on the high ground. If you're using a tank with gun depression, you've got armor while you're doing that. Your whole team should be positioned at a spot like this. And this is what I would suggest to your team is if you go to Port Bay and you're going up to the medium side, do not leave this positioning. Always stay there. Because their team's either going to end up coming up behind or they're going to try and come up through here. So you're going to have a way bigger advantage of just holding your ground than trying to come up behind them, because then you're just giving them the ability to go to where your team would have been stronger. It's kind of weird how it works, but always stay on the medium side. Now, talking about medium side, we're going to start off with heavies. So let's say you're in an E5. Always, you go right here. If you're in a Chieftain Mark 6, you go here. If you're in any haul-down heavy tank like a Kronvon, you're going to that position there. That is going to give you haul-down capabilities where you can shoot pretty much, let's get up the dashing, you can pretty much shoot about from here to about there. And it gives you a lot of great scenarios because you can shoot vehicles that are trying to sit here, vehicles that are trying to poke around this corner. Being a hull down heavy on Port Bay is such a strong advantage because you're able to sit on that one position there. Even if you're not hull down, what you do is, let's say you're in an IS-7, well then you work this spot right here. Sure, you can't completely work this position up top, but you still have enough gun depression to work the lower hill, which means that you're pretty dang solid. So yeah, that is the first advantage, is being a heavy tank. You'll want to work that hill. That is pretty much the hill you want to work. Now, if you're a medium tank, there are two advantages you can do here. If you're in a hull-down medium, let's say an STB-1, an AMX-30B, an M48 Patton, again, I would suggest to go right here. It's more beneficial to sit there as a hull-down medium and hold off the enemy heavies while your heavies are trying to get in position than it is to go over to the medium side. I personally usually don't go to the medium side and do this. The main reason is because I'm always worried that I'm going to blow all of my hit points trying to cross on a scenario that I really couldn't prevent because the enemy team spotted me and went on all my hit points. So there are a lot of scenarios where it's very, very tricky to cross the river, but crossing the river is always a very, very good situation. If you're able to cross that river and hold it, you pretty much win the game. If your mediums get here and they are able to get these heavy tanks shot here, you can imagine how strong of a scenario it is. And that's why I would highly suggest any mediums, again, like STB-1s or any fast medium, to try and get there. Light tanks, try and get there because you will make a huge advantage on the battle. So those are the medium tank spots. And, of course, for lights as well, I'd suggest lights to go there. Now, what I do in my light is I'll pop up this ridge. I'll do a bit of a different maneuver. So I'll do this. I'll go up here, and then I'll drive through like this. Now, the reason I don't go down is because when you're in a light, you've got very good view range. So if you go down, you're obviously not spotting anything while you're going through your path. If you go up, you should hopefully be spotting vehicles back here. You should be spotting vehicles over here or over here. It's way better to spot takes if you go over the hill, then you take that momentum going down and climb up that hill. You still have about the same speed either way. So that's what I would suggest for any light tanks. And then, of course, you'll be over here doing your job. Light tanks are even better at the spot because they can spot vehicles all the way down that alleyway. So medium side is really, really good, and it can give you a lot of big advantages over pushing the heavy side, and these are just some of the spots I would suggest to go. Now, tank destroyers are very hard to play, especially on the medium side of Port Bay. But there are a couple examples of spots you can go. Now, obviously, if you're in a vehicle like a T110E3 or a Badger, you're pushing right here. Again, it's a complete haul down spot. But if you're in a vehicle like an FE2 5B183, I would not suggest to ever go here. I can't tell you how many times I see tank destroyers sit right here and they die, because obviously you're going to be shot. Another spot, by the way, I would not suggest for mediums to go in Port Bay is right here. Or tank destroyers. This is a terrible spot. Even though you spot the enemy, you can't poke, which means that you're just stuck there now. You can't drive away because they'll shoot you as you're driving away. So yeah, never ever go to the spot here. Even though it seems like it's a good position, I highly would not suggest it. But as you can see here, those 3 tank destroyers is pretty much a terrible position. And the reason for that being is because every time you poke, usually the enemy team's just going to shoot you and back up. I would highly suggest to not do that. And honestly, here's a really sneaky spot I started using is right here. This is a bush, and you're able to position your tank, and you're able to wedge it back there to a spot where you can look over the entire medium side. So what ends up happening is you're able to shoot their mediums. Once you clear their mediums, then you can start to position more forwards. That's where you start to use your TDs. Obviously, you can use this spot right here. This is about the best, I would say. It's right down below the hill is about the best spot you can use if you're not willing to work the medium side, is because yeah, that's about the best you can do to poke around the corner quickly, but it's really tricky to run tank destroyers on this map, so those are about the only 2 positions. Obviously, there's other spots, and for anybody wondering, this map is pretty dang parallel. So, yeah, on the other side of the map, I would suggest to run your tank destroyers here. The heavies, obviously, I'd run them right up in the front. Mediums, the same thing. So overall, both sides of the map expect the exact same scenarios, as the maps are practically parallel in every single scenario. Now, there is one way I would suggest to play a medium that is going towards town side, and that is, let's say you're running your hold down medium right here, right? And the enemy heavies are all positioned over here. They're all aiming at you. You know, you've got a tank destroyer back here aiming at you. You got all the heavies over here. And there's really nothing you can do. You know you can't poke because you're going to die. Well, at that point, what you do in your medium is instead of sitting here, you're going to drag your tank all the way over here. What you do at this point, let me just get rid of this tank because it's going to get in my way. What you do at this point is you can get shots into the rear of their vehicles. They're either going to push forwards because they don't want to bleed, or they're going to turn around. Even if you only got 1 or 2 shots out in that time, when they start to turn around, you instantly leave because you're probably going to die if you don't. You go back to your team. Then, because those 2 vehicles have turned around and they're coming for you, you either bait them into your team that's here, or you can start shooting these guys because obviously they've just lost 2 vehicles on their flank. So it's always a battle of the smarts. Blitz does involve skill, but as well, being smart is more important than skill, I say. If you have a team that knows where to go, knows what to do, usually you'll win more. And that's one thing I wanted to tell you in today's video. That was not English here. I was like, tell you. But yeah, Port Bay is very simple. I didn't even need to show you much. If they go town, it's very simple. There's really one thing you do. They go town like this, really all you do, and I'll clear the entire side over here. Let me just wipe all this away, Mr. Clean it off. Literally, if they go town, you do this. You drive your medium or heavy right here, here, or here. That's it. That is all you need to do. And then you have a farm fest on your hands. And then you farm them. Hopefully your team does not leave this spot. This is an idea for anybody. Do not move past about this positioning if your team knows that they're going town. The reason for that being is because the more you go this way, the more their team's able to go this way and take your positioning. So that is today's video. Obviously, if you enjoy it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.